Hello and welcome to GameSack. You may remember back in episode 20, we did a little show about side-scrolling run-and-gun games. In this episode, episode 40, we're going to do some more run-and-gun games, but these are going to be of the overhead type.
Yeah, so basically, if we're looking down on a character, he's running around on foot and shooting things, it qualifies.
It does. So, Joe, what game do you want to take a look at first?
You know, Dave, I think I'd like to open the show with the Commando series.
That sounds good. Let's take command of that.
Commando was Capcom's first overhead run-and-gun game released to the arcades in 1985.
Speaking of Commando, Joe, my wife's doing laundry and all my underwear are dirty. And you know what that means.
I don't need to know that. Anyway, you can play with 1 or 2 players and you run around with guns blazing. This game is damn tough.
Yeah, too tough for me. It's very hard to control your player. I feel that I need to waggle the controls to be effective.
Yeah, I can't even get past stage 2 in this game, but to be honest, I get bored, and so I gotta admit I haven't tried as hard as I should. This is the Saturn version here, which is pretty much exactly like the arcade. It also has a mode where you can listen to some arranged music while you play.
Oh, thank the maker for that option, as the original organ grinder music sucks. It doesn't fit the action at all.
Commando was soon ported to the NES. It's fairly faithful to the arcade with almost everything intact. Now this seems kinda glitchy, but I think it's just this particular cartridge. Also, although the music is pretty much the same as the arcade, I think I like the way it sounds better here. Oh, and the control is easier.
The control seems easier, but it's not perfect. The game is still hard.
Commando got a sequel, and in the US, it's known as Mercs. The arcade version allows for 3 players to play at the same time. Again, this is the Saturn version here. In my opinion, they vastly improved the gameplay.
Yeah, and in my opinion, it's like night and day. I actually feel like I'm controlling the player this time around.
Yeah, now the difficulty is actually manageable and there's plenty of variety in the graphics as well as the weapons. You have a life bar that can be replenished by all the food that's laying around. Nothing like eating random food laying outside on the battlefield.
That's true, I just ate a dead squirrel on the way home from work today. Anyways, the life bar really helps in this game. Gone are the one-hit deaths that everybody hates.
The music is okay and you can switch to an arranged version, but unfortunately it seems rather limited in the amount of songs it plays.
The music fits the game better than the music for Commando.
Yeah, that's definitely true. The Genesis version of Mercs, it was okay. I mean, it's definitely fun to play, but if you happen to have friends, you might be a bit disappointed. You see, this version doesn't support 3 players like the arcade version did. Hell, it doesn't even support 2 players. It's just a single-player game now.
Yeah, and that's a shame, as I think a 2-player mode would have been widely appreciated.
Well, it's fine by me, since I'm an antisocial freak, I suppose.
Yeah, Joe, sadly, you definitely are that. I still wonder how we remained friends for so long.
Hey, overall, it's a decent translation, but it seems to me that Sega didn't have much love for the project when they were porting it over.
Yeah, my guess is they had a Sonic title going at the same time as they were developing this, and had all the resources devoted to that.
The Master System version was released only in Europe as far as I know. It's okay, but it seems more rushed than the Genesis version. They didn't even bother putting music in this game except for at the boss fights. The graphics could be much better as well, and so could the audio. The gameplay works well enough, I suppose, but by the time the game was made, I guess they didn't care about putting much effort into a Master System port.
Yeah, and it's still only 1 player.
And here's all 3 versions of Mercs that we own. "16 years later, Capcom released a sequel called Wolf of the Battlefield Commando 3. This is a downloadable game for the Xbox Live and I think the PSN as well. Is it on the PSN, Dave?
Oh yeah, it is definitely on the PSN.
Okay, anyway, everything is now made up of polygon graphics, very low budget polygon graphics, I gotta say. It doesn't look good, but I suppose it could look a lot worse.
Yeah, actually, you know what? It really reminds me of a PS2 game.
The character art is really bad. Who looks like that?
And who likes the look of that? I don't.
The gameplay works decently enough, but it really isn't worth your money.
You know, the control is great and the levels are long, but it's just not entertaining. I'd rather spend my $10 on something else like maybe 2 coffees from Starbucks. Yeah, Joe, that one was pretty interesting for the most part.
Yeah, I suppose. Now, is there a game that you'd like to take a look at in the genre?
Yeah, actually there is. It's called gun.smoke.
I think it's just called Gunsmoke, Dave.
No. Why is there a dot in the middle of it then? Gun.smoke. Gun.smoke. Actually, it's Gunsmoke. It's a Western-themed arcade game by Capcom. Once again, this is the Saturn version. This game is a bit different than other overhead running guns. The screen scrolls automatically, so there's no stopping to pick up power-ups if you've missed them. You can shoot in multiple directions with 3 different fire buttons.
This game is way crazy hard, and I can barely make it anywhere in this game. It's not very enjoyable, to be honest.
Yeah, this game is frustratingly hard. The arcade version was later released on various Capcom collections that are found throughout various systems that you may or may not own. It was soon ported to the NES, and this is by far the best version of the game.
It's better in every way except for maybe the graphics.
Yeah, anyways, throughout the game you will find boots which will power up speed, you'll find rifles which will let you shoot farther, you will find a horse which will let you take 3 more hits before you die. If you don't find any of these, you can buy them from the locals who sell them along the way. I've said it before, and here I am saying it again, but it's funny that these people sell you stuff and charge you for it when they are begging for your help. This stuff should be free.
Not only that, but the only currency they accept is your score. What the hell?
Anyways, the only way to get to a boss is by finding his wanted poster. This is hidden in the level and you have to shoot it multiple times before it is uncovered. If you can't find it in the level, you can buy it from a shop person. If you don't find it and you don't buy it, the level is going to loop over and over until you do one or the other.
You know, that's part of the game that really annoys me. The boss doesn't appear unless you have his poster. What the hell? I guess he wants to make sure you're a fan or something.
Well, yeah, get his autograph before you kill him, alright? This is all different from the arcade version. The music is also different and is much more memorable here on the NES. Oh, and if you have an arcade stick or controller with turbo options, it helps tremendously. If not, then get ready for sore hands. So, Joe, I remember back in episode 20, remember that one?
Yeah, I do. It was like 20 episodes ago.
Yeah, that was awesome. Anyways, you were able to actually use your Neo Geo, and because there was a game called Cyber Lips or something.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so is Neo Geo have any overhead running gun games?
You know, actually they do. I get to cover Shock Troopers in this episode.
That is shocking.
Yeah, let's take a look. Shock Troopers is one of the best games ever released for the Neo Geo AES.
What? I'm pretty sure that was an arcade-only release.
Okay, you got me. My cartridge has been converted from the NVS, which is the arcade version, to work on the AES. Now, some Neo Geo purists will probably spew blood from their eyes upon hearing that, but you know, I don't care. Anyway, this game is an excellent overhead run and gun. You have a selection of 8 characters and a bunch of different weapons as well as selectable paths that help add to the replayability. You can also choose between Lone Wolf and Team Play. With Lone Wolf, you select one character and that's it. With Team Play, you can select up to 3 different characters and switch between each character at any time, provided that they're still alive. The graphics are really cool, and some parts even seem to be inspired by Mercs.
And the music is definitely unique.
Yeah, it's full of drum and bass tracks that make you wanna, well, they make you wanna do whatever you wanna do when you hear drum and bass tracks, I guess. But it's still cool, and it's good to turn this game up. You can get this on the SNK Arcade Classics for your PS2, but the emulation on that collection isn't perfect.
Shock Troopers, Second Squad.
Shock Troopers Second Squad was a game that was actually released for the home AES system. It's pretty much more of the same, only different. You only have 4 characters this time, and they all have hilarious Japanese accents.
No much for me.
Yeah, and it looks like there's a lot of Donkey Kong Country style digitized graphics in here.
There definitely is. It was all the rage back in the day. Also, I want to mention that Stage 3 here is insanely long and boring. It's like it never ends. The game does have a bit of a different vibe to it, and the music is no longer drum and bass, but it's still pretty good. If you see this in the thrift store for $5, definitely pick it up. All right, Dave, we each get one more choice of a game we're going to cover in this episode, so what's your last choice going to be?
Well, Joe, my last choice is going to be something way back from the 8-bit era that, you automatically think of as awesome when you
you don't mean, you don't mean.
Yeah, I do. Ikari Warriors.
Oh, man, I thought you were going to say Rambo for the Master System.
Rambo?
Guess we can cover Ikari Warriors.
Yeah, Ikari Warriors. Let's do that one. Ikari Warriors was released in the arcades in 1986.
That's right, Dave, it was. Congratulations on your research. Anyway, it was weird because you rotated the joystick to choose the direction you fired and then pushed the joystick in the direction you wanted to move. Needless to say, the control did not feel entirely natural. Beyond that, the game itself was a bit bland even for its time in my opinion. You could commandeer vehicles and that was pretty cool.
It clearly drew its inspiration from Rambo. Soon, Ikari Warriors was released on the NES, Atari Systems, and Computer Systems. This is the NES version. Why didn't this game get put on the Master System, Joe? Huh? Anyways, a fun romp through the jungles and waters where you shoot and lob grenades at enemies, soldiers, bunkers, and helicopters. The vehicles are in this version as well. The levels in this game are super long. At one point playing this when I was young, I just figured that the game was just one long level with no separation. This is not the case. After about 20 plus minutes, you do come to the end of the first level. No boss fight or anything flashy, you just make it there.
Then you get to repeat this process 3 more times.
Ugh, 3 more super long levels. Anyways, the control in this game is hard. Firstly, your player moves fairly slow, making it hard to dodge all the enemies and bullets. Secondly, your player's gun is a little off-center from your body, making the precision aiming very hard. I really like the main game music, even though it doesn't have a lot of length, leaving it to loop a lot during each level. Oh, and it's the same song every level, by the way. Overall, Ikari Warriors is still fun to play and really is the best with 2 players.
Ikari Warriors 2 was a direct-to-NES sequel. There wasn't even an arcade version for this thing.
And just what in the hell happened here? This is a complete mess of a game. After enjoying the original, I was ready for more of the same action. Instead, all I got was a steaming pile. This game is hard. It's hard because of the crappy programming. Your player controls really bad. The developers try to add a strafe motion for your player. Sometimes it's helpful and most of the time it isn't. There is a lot of tight quarters here, and mixed with the erratic motion of the enemy, it's impossible to dodge either the enemy bullets or the enemy itself from running into you. You have a life bar, and once that depletes, you are dead with no continues. But wait! If you do the code, you can continue right from where you left off. It's the same code for the first 2 games. After you die, hit A, B, B, A, and you will come back to life.
ABBA? I hate that band.
Well, apparently the programmers for Ikari Warriors really liked them. Still, even though you have this option, you won't use it much as the game is just annoying. Plus, the enemies you are fighting don't feel like they belong in this game. Spiders and flying aliens and things you can't make out what they are. Music is okay, but not as good as the first game. This game is just horrible. Stay away at all costs. Alright, Joe, what's the last game you're going to cover going to be?
Probably one of the cheesiest games of this generation that was released here in the US. That's right, I'm talking about Last Alert for the TurboGrafx CD-ROM.
Wow, that's awesome. Can I get a glass of wine with this cheese?
Last Alert is a fantastic overhead run and gun for the TurboGrafx CD starring yet another Rambo-like guy.
Yes, the system with a bazillion shooters needs this game for variety in its library.
It's not the fastest paced or most frenetic game on the planet, but it's worthy of being in anyone's collection nonetheless.
Yes, a fun game that wasn't on the top of the must-have list, but it's got its own style and is a very solid game.
The graphics are fairly simple. They never really show off what the TurboGrafx can do during gameplay. But the cutscenes. Oh, the cutscenes. As some of you may have already guessed, we here at GameSack took our voice acting lessons from these guys. Just listen to how awesome it is.
Is it over?
He's entrusted me with the task.
So you'll ask him then? Did you hear about the jetliner that crashed in the Republic of Flet on the eastern side a week ago?
Guy, the stealth bomber is in the back of this factory.
This river's gonna turn red with your blood.
The cheesiness of the voice acting is what helps make this game so endearing, at least to me.
It's part of the charm of this game.
The music has a few good tracks, although they're almost all pure cheese. Anyway, as you kill more people, you level up, getting a larger life meter and better weapons. Hey look, I think I might be able to outrun this bullet! Your progress is saved after you complete each level, but you can't go back and play previously played levels without starting over from the very beginning. It does have sort of an addictive quality to it, and I feel it is a bit overlooked as a game. If you have the ability to play this game, you should own it. Now, while we certainly can't show you every single overhead run and gun game that exists, here's some more that qualify either in whole or in part.
Wow, Joe, that was a lot of games.
Yeah, it was, but you know, I have a feeling we probably missed some.
I don't see how, because we own every game ever made. I mean, I think between your collection and my collection, we've got to have everything.
Well, you know, that's a good question. Let's take a look. Okay, Dave, I've taken into account both my collection and yours.
Yeah, and what's the good news? How many games are we missing?
Not too many, actually. Only 18,726.